Imagine standing at an empty construction site. No walls, no roof, no machinery, just bare land. Now imagine trying to build a skyscraper without a plan. Impossible, right? That is exactly what today's lecture is about. The blueprint behind every successful construction and engineering firm. Before concrete is poured or steel is erected, there is an invisible structure. Legal rules, operational systems, financial controls, and management frameworks. In this session, we are not just learning how companies operate, we are learning how construction organizations themselves are engineered. Just like buildings, firms have foundations, pillars, and growth phases. Understanding this blueprint will help you see beyond drawings and schedules and understand the business architecture that supports every project you will ever work on. Let's begin with a powerful idea. A construction firm is not just a group of people doing work. It is a legal entity. This means the company itself is recognized by law. It can sign contracts, borrow money, hire employees, be sued, and be held accountable. When a contractor signs an agreement to build a bridge, it is not just a handshake. It is a legally binding commitment involving financial risk, safety responsibilities, and regulatory compliance. Notice the 4 major responsibilities shown here: contracts, financial and legal accountability, employment of licensed professionals, compliance with regulations. This is why construction firms invest heavily in legal advisors, insurance policies, and certifications. One mistake can mean millions of dollars in liability. In construction, legal awareness is as important as technical knowledge. Think of Phase 1 as digging the footing of a building. Before anything rises above ground, the base must be stable. For a firm, this foundation is not concrete. It is legal formation, registration, industry requirements, and operational systems. Without these layers, the firm collapses before it even begins. Each layer you see represents a necessary step. Skipping one is like skipping reinforcement in a foundation. Eventually, cracks appear. Many startups fail not because they lack skill, but because they neglect these invisible structural layers. Here we see the detailed blueprint of firm creation. Let's walk through it like engineers reviewing a design section. Layer 1, legal formation. Choosing whether the company is a sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, or corporation. This decision affects taxation, liability, and ownership control. Layer 2, registration and compliance. This includes registering with the Secretary of State, obtaining tax IDs and business licenses. Think of this as getting official permission to exist. Layer 3, industry-specific requirements, licenses, bonding, insurance. In construction, credibility is built through certifications and financial guarantees. Layer 4, operational setup, banking systems, project management software, and safety programs. This is where the firm becomes functional, not just legal. Notice the progression from identity to credibility to functionality. It mirrors how we build structures: plan, permit, reinforce, and finally operate. Now the skeleton rises. If Phase 1 was the footing, Phase 2 is the steel frame. This stage defines the firm's capabilities. It determines what the company can actually do, its management strength, technical expertise, and business operations. Without a strong framework, the firm may legally exist, but will struggle to deliver projects efficiently. Think of a building supported by columns. Remove one column, and the entire structure weakens. Firms are the same. The 5 pillars are ownership and governance, strategic control; management, leadership, and execution; Technical and field operations, engineers, supervisors, crews. Business functions, accounting, HR, estimating. External relationships, clients, suppliers, regulators. A successful construction company balances all five. Too much technical focus without business control leads to financial instability. Too much management without field strength leads to poor execution. This is the exciting stage, growth. The firm begins winning projects, expanding teams, and increasing its market presence. But growth is not random. It follows predictable patterns shaped by capital, risk tolerance, workforce capacity, and compliance discipline. Rapid expansion without systems is like adding floors to a building without strengthening columns. It may look impressive, but becomes dangerous. Here we see a life cycle, almost like human development. Startup, survival mode, small projects. Stabilization, repeat clients, improved credibility. Expansion, multiple crews, larger contracts. Maturity, regional or national presence. Exit/transformation, sale, merger, or leadership transition. Understanding these stages helps professionals anticipate challenges. For example, expansion requires stronger internal systems, while maturity demands diversification. This chart illustrates the journey every organization takes through 4 distinct phases of maturity, from infancy through decline. Think of it as a roadmap, showing not just where you are, but what challenges and opportunities lie ahead. Let's walk through each phase. Infancy, the pink zone on the left, is where every organization begins. In this phase, diversity and inclusion efforts are largely absent or limited. The initial buy-in is frustratingly slow, and any investment in D&I tends to be chaotic and reactive. Organizations are just beginning to recognize the need, but haven't yet structured their approach. Moving into adolescence, the teal section, we see D&I becoming more emergent and structured. The organization has proven that adoption is possible, even if it's still somewhat reactive. Initial investments, while chaotic at first, begin to show direction. This is the experimental phase, where programs start taking shape. Then comes maturity, the purple zone, where D&I becomes integrated. This is the sweet spot. Organizations can prove ROI, showing that diversity initiatives are comfortably managed and delivering results. They're leveraging their competitive advantage, and D&I efforts are confidently optimized. At this stage, organizations amplify recurring value, creating satisfyingly authentic cultures. Efforts become employee-driven rather than top-down mandates. But here's the critical insight. No organization stays at maturity forever. Eventually, we reach decline, where integration can become so embedded that it risks becoming outdated. Programs that once seemed innovative may need reimagining because they've become stressfully outdated. The transition from old to new can feel bittersweet. This is when organizations must revise action plans, acknowledging when something that once worked is now worryingly tired. The key takeaway? Organizational maturity isn't a destination, it's a cycle. The most successful organizations recognize when they're entering decline and use it as an opportunity to reinvent, bringing fresh energy and perspectives to continue the journey. Just as buildings have architectural styles, firms have organizational styles, defined by structure and certification. These designations influence what types of projects a company can pursue and how it is perceived in the marketplace. Firms can be classified in 3 ways. By function: contractors, consultants, design build, managers. By size: small, mid-sized, multinational. By ownership, private, employee-owned, or public. Each classification affects decision-making speed, financial capacity, and project scale. Before we go further, let's clarify an important distinction that often causes confusion. These are certifications, not company types. Business classification programs like SBE, MBE, WBE are certifications used primarily for public sector contracting. They're designations that businesses can earn, not inherent business structures like LLC or corporation. So, what does it take to earn one of these certifications? There are 4 key criteria. First, ownership. The business must be at least 51% owned by qualifying individuals. For example, a women business enterprise must be majority owned by women, and a minority business enterprise must be majority owned by members of recognized minority groups. Second, control. It's not just about ownership on paper. The qualifying owners must exercise day-to-day management and control over the business operations. They need to be actively involved in running the company. Third, size. The business must meet specific revenue or employee limits. These thresholds vary by industry and certification program, ensuring that the benefits go to truly small businesses. And fourth, status. There are typically citizenship or residency requirements to ensure the program supports domestic economic development. The key takeaway here is that any eligible business, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, or a sole proprietorship, can apply for and receive these certifications if they meet these 4 criteria. It's an additional credential, not a fundamental business type. In the world of government and corporate contracting, various certifications can give businesses a competitive advantage. Let's walk through 6 of the most common business certifications you'll encounter. Starting with SBE, or Small Business Enterprise. This certification is for businesses that meet specific size standards, typically based on revenue or number of employees, depending on the industry. Next is MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. These certifications are awarded to businesses that are at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by one or more minority group members. WBE, or Women Business Enterprise, follows a similar model. Businesses that are at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by women. Then we have LBE, Local Business Enterprise. This certification supports businesses based in a specific geographic area, encouraging local economic development. VOSB stands for Veteran-Owned Small Business. Reserved for businesses where veterans own at least 51% of the company and control its management and daily operations. And finally, SDVOSB, or Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business. This goes a step further, requiring that service-disabled veterans own and control at least 51% of the business. It's worth noting that federal certifications are typically administered by the U.S. Small Business Administration, while state and local programs are run by individual agencies. Each certification opens doors to set-aside contracts and procurement opportunities designed to promote diversity and inclusion in contracting. One of the most important realities in construction. Jurisdiction changes everything. Federal, state, and local regulations differ. A certification valid in one state may not apply in another. Firms often need multiple certifications to operate across regions. Compliance knowledge becomes a competitive advantage. As we conclude, remember this analogy. A construction firm is itself a designed structure. It has legal foundations. It requires licensing, insurance, and bonding. It grows in predictable stages. Certifications shape opportunity, not identity. Compliance and capital determine sustainability. When you join or start a firm in the future, you will not just be building projects. You will be contributing to an organizational structure that must be engineered as carefully as any bridge or tower. Understanding this blueprint gives you the ability to see construction not only as an engineering profession, but as a strategic enterprise.